Brother, let me take you into a room for a second. Imagine you're standing in a crowded bar on a Friday night, music pounding, people laughing too loud, everybody trying to be noticed. Two guys walk up to the same woman within 10 minutes of each other. The first one is sharp, funny, dressed well, high energy. He opens with a clever line, makes her laugh 3 times in a row, compliments her energy, keeps the vibe light and playful. She smiles, she laughs, she has fun, but 30 minutes later, she's already forgotten his name. Then the second guy steps in, no big opener, no performance. He just locks eyes for half a second longer than normal, smiles slightly, and asks her one quiet question. The whole room is still loud, but somehow between the two of them, everything slows down. She leans in without realizing it. 10 minutes later, her body is turned completely toward him. Her phone is face down on the table, and she's talking about things she hasn't told her best friend. What just happened? That, my friend, is the difference between entertainment and enchantment. One guy gave her a good time. The other one gave her a feeling she can't find on her own. And that feeling is what she chases for years. Most men think attraction is about being the most interesting guy in the room. They're wrong. Attraction is about being the calmest man in the room, the one who isn't trying to win, isn't trying to impress, isn't trying to fill every second with noise. Women today are drowning in noise. Endless DMs, thirsty comments. Guys who talk fast to hide that they have nothing real to say. And then once in a blue moon, a man shows up who can sit in silence without fidgeting, who can ask one question and then shut up long enough for her soul to answer. That man becomes legendary to her, not because he has the best lines, because he has the deepest presence. Today, I'm going to give you 5 questions that, when asked from that place of unshakable calm, will make women feel things they didn't know they were allowed to feel around a man. These aren't pickup lines, these are invitations into depth. And depth, brother, is the rarest currency on earth right now. But before I give you the questions, you have to understand the foundation. Because if you ask these questions while secretly begging for approval, they will backfire and you'll look try-hard. The power is never in the words. The power is in the energy behind the words. The energy that says, I'm good, I'm here, I'm listening. I'm not leaving this silence until you're ready. That energy alone is already more attractive than 99% of what most men bring to the table. Let me tell you about a night that changed everything for one of my private clients. His name is Victor, 34 years old, successful lawyer, good-looking. But women always lost interest after 2 or 3 dates. He thought he needed better jokes, better stories, more swagger. I told him no. I told him to delete every opener he had and just show up empty-handed except for presents. First date after our call, he meets a girl at a quiet wine bar. Instead of launching into his usual routine, he orders his drink, sits down, looks her in the eyes for 4 full seconds, long enough to be uncomfortable for most men, and then asks the first question I'm about to give you. She answers. He doesn't react big. He just nods once slow, like he's receiving something sacred. Then silence, real silence, not the awkward kind, the kind that feels full. 7 seconds, 10 seconds. Most men would panic and fill it. Victor didn't, and in that silence, she started volunteering more. By the end of the night, she was crying, happy tears, about a dream she had buried years ago. She texted him before he even got home. I don't know what just happened, but I feel lighter than I have in years. They've been together 18 months now. One night. One question asked the right way. That's the power we're talking about. So rule number 1 before we even start. You have to become the kind of man who can tolerate emotional intensity without fixing it, without making it about you, without rushing to the next thing. If you can't sit in fire without getting burned, these questions will scare you more than they scare her. But if you can become the mountain, unmoved, unrushed, deeply okay, then these 5 questions will turn you into the man she compares every future guy to, and none of them measure up. Here's the first one. Look at her, slow your breathing. Let a tiny half smile sit on your face and say, What's something about you that most people get completely wrong? Not fast, not with a cheeky grin like it's a trick. Slow, low, almost like you already know the answer is going to be beautiful. Then shut up. Don't help her answer. Don't nod too much. Just hold eye contact and receive. Why does this work so well? Because every woman has spent her entire life being summarized by people who barely know her. Teachers, exes, friends, family. Everybody thinks they have her figured out. The party girl, the ice queen, the good girl, the boss babe, whatever label they slapped on her. And deep down, she's exhausted from wearing masks just to keep the peace. When you ask this from genuine calm, you're handing her a rare gift, permission to take the mask off without punishment. And when a woman feels that kind of safety, her body responds before her mind catches up. Pupils dilate, voice softens, she leans in. I've seen women answer this question and literally blush because no man has ever cared about the version of them that lives behind the performance. One of my students, Nico, used this on a second date. The girl was stunning, but always very polished, very in control. He asked the question. She stared at her wine glass for a long time. Then she said, "People think I have everything together. They don't know. I still sleep with the bedroom light on because I'm afraid of being alone in the dark." Nico didn't say, "Oh," or try to hug her or fix it. He just looked at her and said, very quietly, "That fear makes sense, and it doesn't make you any less strong." She told me later that was the exact moment she fell for him. Not because he comforted her, because he saw her and didn't flinch. Second question, this one hits different when the vibe is already warm. You've had a little back and forth, maybe some light laughing, but now the energy dips into something quieter. You lean back slightly, relax your shoulders, and ask, "When's the last time you felt completely free?" Not, "What do you do for fun?" Not, "Where's your happy place?" When's the last time you felt completely free? Say it like you're asking yourself the same question in that moment. This question is pure oxygen to a woman's soul. Modern life keeps women in a constant state of low-grade tension. Work, image, expectations, safety calculations. Freedom is the thing they crave most, but rarely taste. When she starts describing that moment, maybe it was dancing at 3 a.m. with her best friends. Maybe it was driving with no destination. Maybe it was swimming naked in the ocean. Her whole physiology changes. Shoulders drop, eyes sparkle, voice gets softer. And because you triggered that state, her brain tags you as the source of freedom. That's advanced, level attraction chemistry most men never touch. I had a client named Julian who asked this on a walk after dinner. She stopped walking, looked up at the sky, and said, "Last summer I went to this tiny island alone. No makeup, no phone service, just me and the waves. I felt like I remembered who I was before the world told me who I should be." Julian didn't say much. He just took her hand and kept walking. She later told him she got butterflies so intense she almost couldn't breathe. That's what freedom does when a woman feels it in a man's presence. Third question. This one is surgical. Use it when conversation has already gone below the surface a bit. Maybe she's told you something real. Maybe there's already been a pause that felt meaningful. Look at her, really look, and say, what's a moment in your life that still feels alive every time you think about it? Not favorite memory, not best trip, a moment that still feels alive. There's a difference. This question bypasses the logical brain and goes straight to the emotional hard drive. When she pulls up that moment, first kiss, under the stars, the day her little brother was born, the night she decided to leave a toxic relationship, her nervous system lights up like she's reliving it in real time. And if you can sit there, unmoving, letting her feel the full weight of that moment without interrupting, you become part of the memory. I've had women finish answering this question, look at me with wet eyes and say, "I've never told anyone that before." That sentence, brother, is the sound of a heart opening. Let me tell you about Elias. Quiet guy, software developer, not the alpha type at all. He asked this question to a woman he'd been seeing casually for a few weeks. She went silent for almost 30 seconds, long enough that most men would have panicked. Then she told him about the night her grandmother died and how she held her hand until the last breath. She cried, telling the story. Elias didn't hug her right away. He just reached across the table and put his hand over hers. Steady, warm, no shaking. Then he said, "That kind of love doesn't die with the person. It lives in you now," she told him later. She knew in that moment she was going to marry him. They're engaged now. Fourth question. This one is dangerous in the best way. Only use it when polarity is already humming. When she's laughing at your dry humor, when she's playing with her hair, when the vibe is undeniably charged, drop your voice a little lower, slow your words, and ask, when do you feel the most like a woman? Not sexiest, not most beautiful. You need deeper roots. Grow those roots, brother, and the fruit comes looking for you. If this hit you in the chest, do me a favor. Type "stillness wins" in the comments right now. Not because I need the engagement, because I want you to declare to yourself that you're done playing the loud game and ready to start playing the depth game. And if you want more of this, the unfiltered, no BS path to becoming the calmest, most magnetic version of yourself, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I release this kind of fire every single week for men who are serious about leveling up from the inside. Until next time, stay grounded, stay quiet, stay dangerous. Peace.